Hello, in this video I'm going to cover how to form new habits and 4 easy tips. If this is something that is of interest to you and it will help in your day-to-day life, please stick around. My name is Tania and in this channel I'm sharing tips and tools from my personal development and coaching and therapy business that may actually help you on your day-to-day life journey. So this is the book by James Clear called Atomic Habits, and within this book he outlines 4 stages of how our thoughts and our behaviours all interlinked in terms of us being able to change habits that we are doing and they're not serving us anymore, so we want to get rid of old unhelpful habits and then introduce new ones. Now, in a previous video on this channel, I mentioned that in order for us to do mindset shifts and change our thoughts, which then impacts how we feel within our body and within ourselves, and then the actions that we actually take. In order to create this, we need to be aware of our blind spots, and we also need to create capacity, because if we view ourselves as a glass that is full and it's full of thoughts, feelings and beliefs that we may have, unless we can tip some of those things out, then we can't put new things in. So we need to create that capacity. And the beauty with this Atomic Habits book is about that you can use these 4 simple steps and you can get rid of old habits that no longer serve you and introduce new habits that do serve you and will improve and enhance your life and help you get to your goals hopefully quicker. So the 4 stages are, I've outlined them here. It is cue, craving, response and reward. And I'm going to go through each one of them individually, and then I'll sort of apply some examples from my own personal experience and what I'm actually doing to help you gain some insight into what potentially you could apply, how you could apply these 4 steps into your life. Because what's really important here is not my examples, but it's how you can apply them into your life. That's where the benefit really lies. So the cue is literally the trigger. That's the interpretation that I'm giving it. And it's what triggers us to do something, to think something. And we need to make that as obvious as possible. And this is where a blind spot needs to come into play, because if we're doing things and we don't even know why we're doing it. So you're watching something on TV and an advert comes on and it's about a new snack that comes out, and it's about how this snack makes you feel. And straight away, then you may start being triggered. Oh, now I want something, I want that snack, or I want another snack that I enjoy eating. And therefore, you weren't hungry a minute before you actually saw that advert, but that advert triggered something within you that created that kind of, oh, now I want to take action and I want to have this snack or another snack. And this is where about being aware of what your blind spots are, what your triggers are, and this all comes down to awareness, and that is the kind of key underlying theme across this. But in order for you to change that, this is where you can actually, oh, this is where I'm being triggered. Now I've got a plan that I can actually implement, and I'll cover that off in a second. And this is where the next stage is about the craving, and this is where it creates that desire. So seeing that advert, you've been triggered, oh, there is this new snack, and now it creates this desire, oh, you're going to have this wonderful feeling that is going to make you feel full, complete, loved, whatever you associated with having a snack when you're actually eating. And it's about making that attractive, because if it is packaged up beautifully, and it'll entice you to want to desire it even more. And that is the kind of key, but it's understanding the why. Why is this desire so important to you, to sort of like just create that strong why within you, so then you can come up with the right plan of action and you will follow through and keep repeating. The third step is response, and this is where you need to practice, you need to repeat a certain activity, but you need to make it easy. You need to show up for yourself. You don't sort of like just give in at the first kind of hurdle. You need to keep going. And in order for you to keep going, the reward that you're going to get, which is the fourth step, is that you really want the gratification. You want to feel that feeling that that advert was saying, if you eat this snack, you're going to feel happy and joyful and energized and healthy, or whatever the advert is actually saying. But in a lot of instances, that instant gratification is usually linked to habits and behaviors that are maybe not necessarily healthy and good for you. And it's about most primal activity, the gain of the reward is usually longer term. So for instance, one of my examples is where I am wanting to have a healthier relationship with food, and binging is one of my coping strategies that I've applied since probably my early 20s when I was at university. And it's about changing that pattern of behavior by changing the mindset, and I'll cover some of that mindset stuff a little bit more on the Friday video, where I'm going to continue that story about that relationship with food. But for the purposes of this video and the example that I want to sort of demonstrate, is that my cue, my trigger sometimes would actually be seeing an advert on TV, seeing something on social media, or going to the shop and seeing some kind of food being displayed where it is going to make you feel great and it's so convenient and it's going to be so tasty, and that would be enough to sort of trigger me to then want. So then the craving and the desire would kick in, and because it would be packaged nicely, then I would actually, oh yeah, that's convenient, I'll just buy it and I'll try it and see if it's if I get the enjoyment that I think I might derive from it. And then the kind of response, the practice that I'm doing is then I'm just buying the actual item at the counter at the shop, because it's so easy for me to just pick it up, decision made, the decision's probably already made at the point where I've been triggered. And then the reward is where I try the actual bit of food, and if it hits all those pleasure points that I'm getting instant gratification, then I will do it again. But if I don't, if I was to eat it and I didn't enjoy it, then the reality is I wouldn't repeat that habit. I wouldn't do it again. So that's why the reward needs to give you that instant gratification that you then want to repeat it, because it was so enjoyable, you felt so great that you want to keep repeating that pattern. So in terms of how can we break that, how can we break the kind of patterns of old behaviours that we want to break, and then we want to create new patterns and behaviours that we want to make habits because they're going to be good for us. So the kind of 4 steps are: make it obvious, make it attractive, make it easy, make it satisfying. But then the reverse is where you want to break the habit. So make it not be obvious, and make it less attractive, make it difficult, put friction into the equation, and make it unsatisfying. And if you do those 4 things in reverse, then that is when you can actually break the habit. But going back to what we want to do is that we've broken some habits, we want to introduce some new habits, we've got capacity to do that. The 4 bits of information, and this is the kind of 4 easy tips, is about having these kind of 4 steps in place, and I'll cover them off one at a time. So if you want to take a wee screenshot, please feel free to do so. And it's about having an implementation intention, and basically that is a plan of action. You need to know the time, the when you're going to do it, and the location where you're going to do it. So for me, about that healthier relationship with food, it's about I want to introduce more exercise into my daily my daily practice or weekly kind of activity. So it's about me defining my plan of action. When am I going to do more exercise, and where am I going to do more exercise? And for me, I've actually got a treadmill, and it's obvious. I've got the treadmill in my kitchen that I can see it. Every time I go into the kitchen, I see the treadmill. So that is a kind of mental kind of trigger prompt. Oh, it's making it easy, it's making it obvious. Then it's making it attractive. And then it's about, oh, I'm going to feel energized if I actually go on the treadmill and do some exercise. I'm making it easy because it's there, and it's easy for me to just plug in the treadmill and just get starting to walk. And make it satisfying, and this is where it's about making it enjoyable, but at the same time actually seeing the progress, that you actually feel that you've sweated a little bit, so therefore you know that you've worked the muscles, you feel your muscles pulsating a little bit, so then you're starting to feel a little bit more energized because the endorphins are starting to kick in and the dopamine, and you're starting to feel good, and you feel proud of yourself that you showed up and you did the exercise that you wanted to do as part of the plan. So having that plan of action of when I'm going to do the exercise, where I'm going to do the exercise, making it obvious, attractive, easy and satisfying are what makes it something that I'm going to actually do. And then the next bit is about habit stacking. It's the sequence in which I'm actually doing it. It's a case of, am I going to wake up in the morning, and is it the first thing that I'm going to do, get dressed and go on the treadmill? Or is it going to be that I'm going to do it later on in the day, that I'm going to go into the kitchen, prepare some food, and I'm going to eat the food, and once I've finished eating the food, then I'm actually going to do the treadmill. I'm going to do the exercise. So while my food is digesting, I'm actually walking. I'm not running on the treadmill, I'm just walking, so I can actually do that. So it's at what sequence, when am I going to put that exercise into place? And then it's about temptation bundling. And this is where Tony Robbins, he uses the terminology net time, which is no extra time, which means you're almost multitasking. You're doing something at the same time. So you pair something that you want to do with something that you need to do. And this is where, from a habit perspective, you need to exercise in order to feel energized and feel good about yourself. But you want to watch some content on YouTube, you want to listen to a podcast, you want to just listen to a book on Audible. You can actually stack the activity, so you can do both of them at the same time. So for me, it's about watching some YouTube content or some podcasts, and I do it when I'm on the treadmill. So I am walking, and at the same time, I'm consuming the information that I want. So I get to do what I want, which is watch the content, but I am needing to do the exercise so my body feels energized and I feel good about myself because I'm actually doing the habit that I want to introduce. And then the fourth bit is about tracking your progress, and it's about celebrating all the bits of progress that you're making, because the satisfaction element, so if the aim of you doing the exercise is because you want to feel energized, revitalized, and you want to have a fit, slender, fit body, then it might take months before you're actually at that stage where you can look at yourself and you physically feel fit and healthy, and you're not going to get it straight away. But what you're going to get straight away is the kind of happy hormones, the endorphins, the dopamine sort of like flushing through your body, and you're going to feel proud about yourself for showing up for yourself. And it's about celebrating those, but tracking the activity that you're doing. And the important thing is that if, say, for one day that because I'm not doing the treadmill every day, I've got it a couple of times a week that I go on the treadmill because I go walking a couple of other days. But if for whatever reason I wasn't able to do my walking on the 2 allocated days, then it's about sort of like saying, okay, can I introduce another day that I'm doing the walking? So therefore I've still hit my target of doing 2 days of walking on the treadmill and 2 days walking outside, and getting that kind of right balance. So it's about not letting yourself off the hook by then falling back into the pattern of behavior where you're not going on the treadmill at all. So that tracking and celebrating your successes, not judging and criticizing yourself for the days that you're not able to keep the progress going forward, but making the commitment to yourself that you'll get back on the treadmill the following day or another day that week to make sure that you're still making that progress that you promised yourself that you were actually going to do, because this is where it comes into your kind of goals and aspirations and what you want to achieve. So therefore, through those 4 steps, making it obvious, making it attractive, making it easy, making it satisfying, having a plan of action, creating that habit stacking, where in the sequence in the day that you're going to fit in this new habit, what can you do at the same time as this new habit to make it even more kind of satisfying and rewarding, and then tracking your progress. That will enable you to create new habits, and at the same time, if you do the inverse of them, to get rid of habits that no longer serve you. Hopefully within here, you've actually picked up some tips, some ideas as to how you can implement these kind of 4 steps within your life. And if you want to read the book, it's available widely on Amazon, I'm sure, or other book retailers. You can find it on Audible as well. It is a fairly easy read, but you need to be very clear what your goal and aspiration is, what habits you want to introduce and what habits you want to get rid of. So if this is content that has been of value and you're a new viewer on this channel, please like and subscribe. I try to add as much value as I can through these videos on a weekly basis. I post 3 times a week, so maybe something within here will resonate for you. So go out there and seize the day. Have the most amazing day, whatever you're doing. And always remember, there's choices in life, so choose wisely. Bye until the next one.